am Eusebius Nyathi, a priest from the Diocese of Wange. I was born in 1974 on the 2nd of August in Wange. I grew up in Wange. My parents are my father, Thomas Munkombwe Nyathi, who passed on, and my mother is Betty Nyathi Munkombwe as well. I did my primary school in two schools, Makwika Primary School, that is in Wange, mining area, that is also known as number 3. I also did part of my primary school at Mashala School, that is my rural home. Then for secondary education, I went to the minor seminary that was started Form 1 in 1989. And I went to Mazoe in 1995. Started philosophy in 96, 97 to 98. Then I began my theology studies in year 2000, August. And I was ordained a priest in 2004. That same year I was ordained on the 17th of July by Archbishop Robert Ndlovu. That was before he came to Harare. Then after that I went to study dogmatic theology in Tenerife. That's one of the islands of Spain. So that was 2011. So I obtained a licentiate in dogmatic theology, so I could teach in the seminary. What I remember is we started off in Mazoe being 52 or 53. So quite a number remained along the way. And especially during the year when we were out for pastoral experience, a number did not come back. From my diocese, we were ordained being 5. So as I have mentioned, I was ordained in 2004. That was in July. And after that, I was appointed to the minor seminary. I was there as the vice rector. So 2004, 2005. From 2006, I was a parish priest in St. Mary's. So I was there also for 2 years, 2006 until 2008. And in 2008, I was asked to go back to the minor seminary, this time as director of the minor seminary. Those are the places where I worked in the diocese. I did have also some other responsibilities within the diocese. I did work with the women of St. Anne. I was assisting the Father Marco, who was actually in charge, so I was working closely with him. While I was rector at the minor seminary, I was the chaplain of the Marist Brothers School. I also was one of the consultants, also was given a task to oversee the ongoing formation of priests in the Diocese of Wange. Upon return from studies, that was in 2014, so I was asked to return to the seminary, this time as a formator and lecturer for dogmatic theology. So from 2015, I've been in the seminary as formator and lecturer. 2016, I was asked to take up the role of vice rector. So I was vice rector for the theology department, the stage of configuration to Christ. So a position that I held until 2022, when I was appointed rector of St. John Fisher and Thomas More National Seminary. I have enjoyed the experience, the teamwork that we have had with the other formators, and also with the seminarians, trying to be exemplary to them and to show them that correct picture of the priesthood. It's not an easy task, but I think I have done my best. We have tried together as a team of formaters. I always find it difficult to say what experience I had, but all I can say is that, it came as a surprise to me. I didn't expect it. Even as I went there, I thought I was going there to be asked about certain issues in the seminary, only to be told about the Pope's decision and appointment that he was asking me to be the Bishop of Gokwe, which indeed for me was shocking, because I didn't know what to say, and I think rightly so. I needed some time also to just go and think over it, pray over it. So the response, if it's about the response, it didn't really get back the same day. Well, it's a yes that I gave also, entrusting myself to Christ, really. In Gokwe, I'm not sure, but I would think that they should be happy, because I believe that they've been praying for a shepherd for quite a while. So the news of the appointment of a bishop, I think, should bring joy to them. That is the truth, that's the reality about Gokwe. Yes, it is a rural diocese. So I wouldn't like also to give some false expectation, like we are going to do this and that. Maybe the politicians may do that, but I have to go and settle in Gokwe, and then together with the priests and the faithful in Gokwe, we'll forge a way forward together. Whatever we can do, we'll do. But the most important thing for us, I think, is to understand our context and to accept our context. We have to accept who we are. That is Gokwe. The vision has to come from the faithful in Gokwe, the priests and the lay faithful. We have together to sit down and see what way we have to take. But otherwise, in general, the mission, it is the mission of Christ. That is the mission of the church, to make Christ present there. So we have to find ways of how we can be a living church in Gokwe. I'm not the first one in Gokwe. I know there have been other bishops before. There are people there, the priests who have been working with those bishops. So we should be able to continue what has been begun by others. So it's just consolidating and complementing the work that has been already begun by others. My commitment there is to go and continue the mission of Christ. I think in Christianity, really, the issue of languages, tribes, different cultures shouldn't arise at all, because our task as Christians is to go and plant the gospel in all cultures, among all peoples. So the church is open to all. So everyone is invited to the church. So nobody should be left out. And we have to present that gospel to all the people there. The political situation in the country really it's not just in Gokwe, that is Gokwe is a hot spot, but everywhere. Now as we go towards the elections, there is a little bit of excitement among the people. But the message that we have to give to the people is be tolerant. We know that Zimbabwe is a democracy. There are various parties. I think we have 11 candidates for the presidency. So we have to be tolerant. We have to be peaceful and desist from violence. And let the one who wins the majority be the ruler, and we should be able to accept the outcome. So that's the message that I would give to the people in Gokwe and the people everywhere. We have to be tolerant and peaceful and shun violence. But at the same time, I would say, it is good for the Christians to be involved in politics. They have a duty also there to go and stand for the Christian values. Let them go and be involved. And on that day of elections, I say, please go and vote, go and exercise your right. And the issue of drugs has become a complex issue really in the country. It's a matter of concern for everyone. So I wouldn't think Gokwe is isolated. It could be an issue there. But at the same time, I don't think that we have to be judgmental to the youth. First of all, we have to understand what is the problem, what is causing that. Then also engage the youth, dialogue with the youth. There will be no solution that does not involve the youth. We have to be together with them, listen to them. Then we together with them can come up with a solution. But anyway, to those who are not yet into drugs, I would say, please stay away from drugs. Maybe we could see certain things that could be practical for the youth. What could they engage in? What are the practical things that can be done in Gokwe? Gokwe is a farming area, for example. So if we find opportunities really for people to engage in that, maybe to be helped, to be supported, to begin something in the area of farming, maybe that could help, rather than just leave them like that being idle. The civil authorities, government also has to see what could be done in Gokwe. So has to keep the young people away from drugs. I think there has been a plan already in Gokwe even before I go, of maybe coming up with a vocational training center. So if resources permit, that would be a good idea indeed, to see to it that at least there is some kind of training that even those who have not made it at school, they can find a way to do something that helps them in their livelihood. All I can say is that I offer myself, I'll avail myself to the conference in whatever area they feel like would be of use or be helpful. Then I'll take up the responsibility and try my best in that whatever area I'm asked to work. Work has been going on, and I think, like I said earlier on, it's complementing and consolidating the work that has been done. So I'm not putting any pressure on myself, like, what is it that I'm going to do? What change am I supposed to bring? But rather, I believe that there should always be continuity. It's work started long back. The church in Zimbabwe has been there for ages, so we just have to continue from where the others have left. The issue of synodality, I think it's something that has been part of the church from the beginning. The church is synodal in its nature. We speak of the church as the people of God. That means, it's not one person or some people, but the whole church together. The church is also understood as a pilgrim church, so we journey together, we walk together. On how this is being implemented or lived, I should really appreciate that. I think we've tried our best to create an atmosphere of dialogue, listening to each other, and reaching out to those who are in the peripheries, those who are marginalized. And that is being the church, and that is what I think we have to continue. Maybe we haven't exhausted everything, but we have to continue seeing how best we can be a synodal church. I think for me the most important thing, as I see it, is what we already have been doing, trying to engage everyone, bringing that unity, and helping people to realize within the church that this is not just a task of certain people or a task of the ordained, but everyone in the church has a role to play. We have to continue cultivating this kind of atmosphere. So decisions are not only supposed to be made by those in the hierarchy, but everyone should be engaged, should be involved, and should give their opinions. We listen to each other. I don't think that this is something that we can pretend nothing is happening. Yes, everyone should be concerned about this. When people start talking about something, that means yes, maybe it's something to be concerned about. But at the same time, we shouldn't color or paint everyone with the same brush and think, yeah, this has become an issue. Priests are doing this and that. There are many priests who are trying to live their priestly life well. I still believe that we have priests who are celibate, who are, yes, trying to live their celibacy and are faithful to their celibate life. So we shouldn't be thinking, these are abusers, and they begin to see all priests as abusers. Yes, here and there we've had those cases. And what can we do? Yes, we have to always try and make sure that we have measures to guard against that. And I think in Zimbabwe, ZCPC has come up with certain policies on safeguarding of minors and the vulnerable. And we have to try and implement that and follow those policies. Well, I think as a church in Zimbabwe, I've mentioned earlier that we are growing as a church. And I think the area that we have to try and emphasize, I would say this from the experience I've had in the seminary, I think that we have to become a true local church. We should be able to produce our own local vocations. We should be able to be self-supporting, self-sustaining, and self-propagating. That we shouldn't just be content that, well, the church exists in Zimbabwe, but we have to continue growing and reaching out to the others. I think we need to be awakened in the area of self-reliance. We have to be ourselves. We need to have our own identity. We need to be a church in Zimbabwe that is able to do things for itself, not only to be dependent for everything that we have to do. Maybe at times we are stuck because we can't get funders or donors from outside. Indeed, we need donations here and there, but also as the faithful, as Christians in Zimbabwe, I think we have to try our best to sustain ourselves, to support ourselves in all aspects. Yeah, well, I will share mostly my experiences in the seminary here in Shishawasha and maybe in the minor seminary where I was. Of course, I've worked also with the vocations promoters from the different religious congregations, but certainly I have no doubt in our formation system. We may need to improve here and there, but I think our formation is quality formation. Then, when looking at the crisis or the challenges, the difficulties that we are having in the dioceses, I think we shouldn't just be looking at where the priests are being trained, but let us also look at the environment in the dioceses, the situation in the dioceses. So there are many challenges that are there. So I just mentioned some of the things earlier on to do with self-reliance, self-support. How are the priests living in the dioceses? How much support are they getting from the local church or from the faithful in a parish where they are living? So I think this is where some of the challenges could be coming from. Indeed, I agree there are difficulties, but we shouldn't just look at where they are being trained. When they find the reality in the situation, in the missions, in the dioceses, in the parishes where they are, challenging, then at the end, as they try to survive, they may fall also into some other difficult situation. Synodality actually should help us deal with that. The church does not only belong, to a particular group of people. So just as we have been saying, the lay faithful should find a place in the church and should participate. The same with the diocesan priests, the same with the religious sisters, the religious brothers. So everyone should find a place. Everyone should play his role. The church is big enough to accommodate all of us. So we shouldn't waste energy fighting each other in unhealthy competition, but let us unite and work together for the good of the church, for the growth of the church.